Is the church stuck in a victim mindset? If our worldview is that things will get worse and worse and worse until at some point in the future we are profoundly rescued and then we all get Cadillacs or whatever it may be, we may be getting manipulated. I don't know if you've ever thought about this. As I look to scriptures, though, I don't see Jesus teaching in this way at all or leading us to live this way. In fact, it's well known in politics that if you want to get somebody to follow you or a group of people to follow you or be able to lead them or manipulate them, give them some common enemy or something to fear, something that they can gather around, that they can hate together. In fact, this has been done throughout the history. It's a great parenting tactic that has been used. Even Santa Claus has employed it. You better be good, right? He's checking a list twice to find out who's naughty or nice, and you better be good, and all this stuff. It's like this idea. It's the same kind of thing that's been brought into Christianity, and honestly, I don't blame the church. I love the church. I think the church is something that God loves. It's His people. We are His people. We are His temple. And there's this idea, but there is a tendency of humanity to engage in this way of thinking. We are motivated, we are strongly motivated by fear and anger and hatred. And I believe, and I'm not teaching about it in this particular talk, but really it began in the Garden of Eden. It began at that point. Maybe that is the fall of man, the knowledge of good and evil, that there has to be good and evil, something to be against and something to be for. In fact, in psychology, there's a term that's called the drama triangle. I don't know if you've ever heard of the drama triangle, but it's how we often find ourselves operating in relationships and operating just in life and our whole view. I know people that really see themselves in the place of victimhood very often. And so let me explain this really quick. If you could imagine an upside down triangle, and if I had the technology, I'd show you in graphics and all that stuff, but I think we can do it here. An upside down triangle. And up in this corner of the triangle is the rescuer, the thing or the person or the entity that's going to rescue you from that. And in this corner is the persecutor, the thing that is attacking, that could destroy you, that could destroy your way of life, your ideals, all of those things. It's up in this corner. And then down at the bottom of this upside down triangle is the victim, the person who is being attacked by this persecutor, and we need this rescuer. Well, it's well known that if you can put yourself in the place of this rescuer in a context of politics, then all you have to do is find a persecutor. Whatever policy, whatever thing a group of people may galvanize around and see themselves in this place. If we don't do something, if somebody doesn't fix this, we're all going to die, or whatever it is. If it's border patrol or control or whatever it is, it doesn't even matter because both sides use it to great effect. And we live in this, and actually our whole culture has gone to this way, because if you're in this group, you're going to be hated. Right? But if you're in this group, you're going to be hated. One is a rescuer, one's a persecutor. It just depends on which state of victimhood you tend to live in the most. And I'm just here to say that I believe that drama triangle idea and way of living, and not that it's intentional, just needs to be totally demolished in our lives. Jesus somehow found a way to live in peace, and He brought a way that He raised people up to a level of equality that has not been seen in history before, I believe. But we still, I believe, even the church. Even the church. There's this idea that in the first century, they had church all figured out, but church was a mess in the first century. They had factions and arguments and problems and disagreements, and the church has just been a continual mess. And somehow through this mess, and I don't know why we don't see this, we're all striving for perfection in the church, to have right theology, doing this right, doing that right. And the truth is that it's a mess. It's always been a mess, and it's always been beautiful. And Jesus has loved us all through that beautiful mess. And so this drama triangle, I kind of want to just kind of focus on a little bit more and how it may be impacting our experience. The idea of a drama triangle. God can be the rescuer or the persecutor, and sometimes God is the persecutor and Jesus is our rescuer. You see how we've done this over and over. But the way, the more I study the Bible, the more I see we're to live from a place of victory. And I just want us to think about this. Jesus' last words on the cross were, "It is finished. It is complete." There's this idea of what he said. The word that he used, or that's recorded in the Bible, is I can't even say it. Tetelestai. And it's this word that carries the idea of something being totally completed, perfected, or paid in full. In fact, one of the forms of this word, or kind of the root of this word, is the name of my ministry. It's called Teleios Ministries, and really, I called my ministry Teleios Ministry not because I think it is perfect, not because I have perfected life and I'm the fount of all wisdom. It's not any of those things, but my salvation, the recognition of my salvation, is when I live from the place of Jesus's victory. It is finished. He is on the throne, and somehow we're kind of waiting for him to get to this throne where all things will be put under his feet. But I would say that has happened 2,000 years ago. He has completed the work. He is on the throne. He's not in the green room of the throne sanctuary. He's not there waiting in heaven to where he could take his place. He has been seated at the right hand of the Father right now. It's past tense. He is the Lamb who was slain. It talks about in Revelation 4. We always think of everything in Revelation as being in the future, but so much of Revelation is in the past, and we have to see it that way. And so we serve a Lamb who is slain. He won the victory. If you're a Christian, you kind of understand what that means. If you're not, please forgive me. Bear with me in that. But there's a living from the place of victory means this. First of all, last week or the week before, I said that you're forgiven and there's nothing you can do about it. And I really believe that's true, because as a human being, I decide in my heart if I'm going to move in forgiveness towards somebody who's hurt me or wronged me. If my wife and I get in a disagreement or something, I move in my heart in forgiveness towards her so that we can bring restoration in this in our relationship. And if you don't hold that position, if you wait for some kind of proper repentance, or if she's not sorry enough, I'm not going to forgive her. What a childish way to operate in a relationship. Not even any emotionally mature adult does not operate that way, yet we've put that kind of immaturity in the nature of God. Let me tell you, he forgave you long ago. I don't know that he ever came to a place where you were unforgiven, in all honesty, in the nature of God. If God is love, then his capacity for love, his capacity for forgiveness, his capacity to love us despite all the things that we hate about ourselves is far beyond what we could think or imagine. But in light of this, next time I'm going to talk about the covenants and what I think Jesus actually accomplished. But suffice it to say that he said he's finished it, he's accomplished it, and I believe he is at the right hand. He is ascended to his place of authority right now. He said it to his disciples, I've been given all authority, and I give you authority as well. So this is something that has happened. He has the authority. That means that everything else which had authority before no longer has that authority. Do you understand? He took away all the authority of anybody else that had a claim on authority in the kingdom, in the heavenly realms. He has complete authority. He has forgiven me. I totally get that. Okay, so I can live from a place of forgiveness. He has made me holy. And this is a hard one for a lot of people, because as we judge ourselves, we really have a hard time judging ourselves as holy. And obviously that's difficult. I'm not going to say I've achieved holiness, but I've been given holiness. And so in my life, instead of living towards being better or thinking better or removing or controlling or all these things, all this striving that we do to somehow be pleasing to God, I live from a place of holiness. And I endeavor in my heart and in my spirit and mind to spend time with the Holy One, because he talks about that as you spend time in my presence and in my glory, that my presence and my glory begins to affect you. And he says that like a reflection in a mirror, that from glory to glory we begin to emulate him. And so being in the presence of God, and I know this is getting to sound woo-woo and all this stuff because we want to put all this religion in our brains. But honestly, it's a spiritual pursuit. And you could study the Bible till the end. You could work your whole life long and apply every single principality. No, that's not the right word. Every single principle or rule or whatever you're applying, you could take every word and apply it to your life with as much diligence as possible. And people do this, and they all do it differently, by the way, so that gets really confusing. But you can do that your whole life and never know God. The story about the sheep and the goats is a group of people that did their best to apply things but never knew Jesus. So maybe the point is just knowing Jesus. And living from a place of victory is accepting purity on yourself. Because he's saying, I'm giving you purity. You've been made pure, white as snow. We sing about it. We have songs about it, that you have been made holy, that you're already there. You're already in a place. So you live from a place of purity and holiness. When it comes to repenting or feeling bad or feeling like you missed the mark, it's more of a problem on our side of the ledger that we need to see that, hey, Jesus, this is how I'm feeling. I feel like I've let you down. I've let me down. Whatever the case may be in your life. And then re-putting on the garments that he has given us, the new self, that new flesh that he's given us, that new creation that we are in Christ. It's recognizing a stumble. It's not about becoming perfect. It's recognizing a stumble and running to the presence of God in our lives. And reaching out to him and just putting on the garments, the holy garments that he has given us, reacquainting ourselves as who we are as sons and daughters, a royal priesthood, a royal community, connected immediately with him, not through a mediator, not through somebody else, not through a pastor, not through a priest, not through anybody else. Our relationship with God is one-to-one, and our life with him and our pursuit of him is exactly that. It's a relational pursuit. I want to have integrity with this relationship. We approach as children, but we have the responsibility like an adult to come before him with integrity in this relationship and learn how to love and honor and receive love and honor from him. This is a two-way street. There's so much about the good news of the gospel that I want to share, but it makes me excited about Jesus. It makes me thrilled to live this life. And as I want to talk about this a little bit. I don't know if it's going to make the video, but Lisa and I, for the first time in our lives last year, we took a 6-month sabbatical from church because we were in ministry together for over 25 years and just been a huge part of our lives. And the Lord just led us to have this time away. And, I got used to not going to church on Sunday, but man, I was really longing for something. It was different. And not since I was a child had I had that kind of a season in my life. And we've been going to churches and looking for that place that we want to call our church home. And I have to tell you, one of the things that struck me as I was in church this morning, and I was just worshiping the Lord and worshiping with a group of believers. And I tell you, I know all the ideas about, music is manipulating our emotions and all of those things. And it's just a staticism or whatever it may be. And what kind of a God requires worship, and it's like, I've heard people say that. And I just think, that's not the situation here. This is a relationship. And as we press in to know this person, this all-powerful being that we've been given access to, and we get to know him just a little bit, and we see a part of him, we see a little bit of his glory, it stirs within us a response of, oh man, you're so awesome. It's not a natural thing to worship. And let me tell you, there's an engagement that happens in the process of worship between, I believe, in the spiritual and the physical become one, the lines become blurred, and if you learn how to get into that space, the power of community and communal worship is incredible, and it's very, very important. Not only private worship, and of course those things are important as well, and I love to do that, but boy, I've missed that community, gathering together, and we're all pointing our hearts, we're aiming our hearts towards God in whatever capacity we may have. And we're just saying, okay, I'm just singing about your glory. I'm worshiping you. I'm giving you honor because of who you have been to me. And this process just grows, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And the revelation of God grows in a group of people simultaneously. And it's a very powerful thing. And I kind of rambled on this thing. Ultimately, these videos are just what I'm thinking about today. And I'm okay with that. I'm not the most structured person, and I've learned to love myself for who I am and who God made me to be. And of course, I want to grow and improve, and I know we all do, but this is what I'm doing. I'm sharing my heart. I'm sharing my love for Jesus. That's the bottom line. I can't escape the idea of what he has meant to me, and my heart for Christ, and knowing him in a deeper way, and helping other people find him in the deepest way possible. And so many people have used the church as the excuse to walk away. And I'm sad about that, and I get it. My hope is that I can help you connect, that together we can connect on a deeper level to Jesus, that spiritual experience that we can share together in knowing him more and sharing him with other people, because the peace that comes from that, if we can step out of that victim mentality, that victim experience of life, and into a place of victory, it's powerful, and it's freedom, and it's light, and it's easy. It's a walk that is joyful. Even in the midst of struggles and strife and difficulties, there's peace that surpasses understanding. And that's where it is, because my life is not declared by the experiences of life. Those are important, those are impactful, but they're not my identity. And so I've gone through incredibly rich blessings in my life, and I've gone through really difficult sorrows and difficulties and tragedies and all of the things in between. And I can look back still. I'm not done yet, but I can look back even at my age now and just be so thankful for God's grace in my life and joyful about who he is. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.